Hi guys, Shaz and Court coming at you today. We are here to bring you a nice little hamstring stretch sequence. That is quite the mouthful. Court is kindly enough being my demo gal today. So what you are going to need is 2 blocks and a strap. And you know, when we do go into certain yoga poses like downward facing dog, forward folds, we are naturally stretching out the back of our hamstrings. But today's practice is really dedicated to giving specific love to those hamstrings. So for me, I've been dabbling in running a little bit lately, only about 3 or 4 kilometers. Courtney over here is the seasoned professional. She runs about 10 kilometers every day. And both of us use these type of exercises, or stretches I should say, to really benefit us in other areas of our life. For example, when we're going in to do a hamstring stretch, we know that that's going to benefit us in yoga and also complement our running and also complement our weight training. So there's all these different elements and benefits to actually taking the time to stretch your body. You know, we always say how important it is stretching out pre and post run, but it is actually really, really important. You know, with anything that we're doing, any kind of exercise, we need to give our bodies that time because naturally the muscles tense up, the fascia becomes quite solid. We want that fascia to become released, liquefied, and just feel really ooey gooey again in our system so we can obviously use the muscles correctly when we go to operate them again. So to begin today's practice, I will get Courtney to come to lie onto her back. And we're just going to start by hugging the knees into the chest. And closing down the eyes, we'll take 5 breaths here. And this is just a really beautiful pose for opening up prana, breath up our spine. And just a nice way to bring a little bit of connection back to ourselves before we begin a little bit of movement for the day. So go ahead and take 1 more breath here. And then gently release the heels of the feet back down to the earth. We are going to take a reversed pigeon here. So we will be bringing our right foot over our left knee. We want to create that beautiful figure 4 here. So we want to push that right knee towards the back of the mat and flex through that right foot. Now from here, we are going to bring those arms around the back of our left thigh. Beautiful. Now you can either stay upright like Courtney has done, or you can release the head back down to the earth. Whatever feels better in your body, whatever feels like it's giving you a little bit more stretch. And now here we definitely want to keep both feet flexed. So as you can see, Courtney's got her left foot flexed, she's also got her right foot flexed. And consciously, we're pulling this right knee towards the back of the mat. Can you really feel that open up through the back of that right hamstring? So go ahead and take 3 more breaths here. And once you have taken your 3rd breath, slowly begin to unravel and release and bring that right foot back down to the mat. And just take a moment to pause here and perhaps noticing the difference between the right and the left side of the body. For me, I always notice a little bit of heat circulating up one side of the body versus the opposite side of the body that I haven't yet stretched. So just taking a moment to notice all those little subtleties. Beautiful. Okay, we'll make our way to the opposite side. We'll draw that left foot over the right knee this time. Take a moment to pause, find that figure 4, flex through that left foot, push that left knee towards the back of the mat. You might even like to use your hand just like Courtney did then. From here, slowly begin to bring those palms around the back of the right thigh and continue to flex through the right foot and the left foot. Take a moment to reset, push that knee back towards the back of the mat, and take 3 breaths. Should be feeling that beautiful stretch now through the left side of the hamstring. So just adjusting, taking all these little micro movements that feel really good in your body. So each body's going to be unique, so take what works for you. And then slowly begin to release all the way down and bring that left foot to the earth. Let's take a breath to reset here, perhaps feeling that heat flush through the left side of the body. And now we're just going to make our way into 3 rounds of bridge. So making sure that the fingertips can sweep the heels of the feet. On your next inhale, we'll draw the pelvis up towards the sky and we'll activate through those glutes. Consciously drawing those knees towards each other if we can, keeping the chin nice and tucked. Maybe the gaze is down towards the navel, maybe the eyes are shut, and we're just going to take 3 breaths here. And once you have taken your 3rd breath, you can lower your pelvis down to the mat. And take 1 breath to pause. On your next inhale, raise the pelvis up to the sky. Maybe the hands follow this time. And keeping the arms and the fingertips drawing up towards the ceiling. Keep activating through those glutes. Let's take 2 more breaths here. And then exhale, slowly release. Lower all the way down. Take a breath to pause. On your next breath in, raise the pelvis up. This time the hands might like to sweep overhead, touching the backs of the palms to the earth. Finding that beautiful length and elongation through the spine. Let's take 2 more breaths. And then slowly begin to lower that pelvis back down to the mat. Bring the arms along beside the body and take 1 breath here. Now go ahead and grab your strap if you have it handy. We are going to wrap the strap around the juicy part of the right foot, so towards the ball of the right foot. Beautiful. And extend that right leg up towards the ceiling. Now we want to flex through that right foot, and maybe if we can continue to pull those toes towards the crown of the head. So we're going to want to have a little bit of slack onto the strap and make sure that those elbows are drawing in towards our body. So we want to feel that tension. Maybe come down a little bit tighter now on the strap, see how that feels, and keep drawing that toe towards the crown of the head. Now, option to keep that left knee bent, or perhaps extend it long if you want a little bit more of a stretch. If you have chosen to extend it long, just see how that feels in your lower back, because it can often trigger lower back. So just notice how that feels and continue to flex through that left foot. We're going to be here for 5 more breaths. Maybe with each breath, you can feel the toe drawing towards the crown of the head just a little bit more without forcing. It's this beautiful dance between effort and ease, we like to call it in yoga. So just taking a moment to feel that sweet spot. Let's go ahead and take 1 more breath here. Awesome. And slowly begin to unravel, removing the strap from around the right foot, and just lower that right leg down to the earth. And pause in your pentacle or Shavasana-like shape for a brief moment. Let's go ahead and take 1 more breath here. And then let's make our way to the opposite side. So when you're ready, go ahead and grab your strap, bend through that right knee, lift that left leg up to the sky, place it onto the ball of that left foot, extend that left foot up towards the ceiling. Again, find a little bit of tension on that strap, hug those elbows in nice and close to the body, and then perhaps begin to draw those left toes towards the crown of the head. Now, if you feel okay, you can extend that right leg, making sure to keep flexing through that right foot, making this a nice active pose. Take 5 breaths. And again, finding that beautiful sweet spot, so maybe drawing those toes a little bit more towards the crown of the head. Again, we're not here to create pain. So just noticing what is going on with your body. Do you need to back off a little bit, or do you need to come forward a little bit more? Let's take 1 more breath here. And then exhale, release, remove the strap and pop it to the side. We probably won't be needing that strap again today. Hug the knees back into the chest. And maybe take a few rock and rolls. making your way into your tabletop position. And once you arrive in your tabletop, send that tailbone high, straight into it, downward facing dog. So take your variation of your downward facing dog. If you need to bend through your knees, you are welcome to do so. If you need to have a little bit of a play around with lifting one heel up at a time, go ahead and do that. Find that sweet spot. Just ensure that those fingertips are spreading wide onto the mat and there's a strong connection there. Take one more breath wherever you are. Keep drawing that tailbone up towards the ceiling and then just pause in stillness. So downward facing dog is such a beautiful pose for stretching out through the backs of the hamstrings. So we are going to be here for 5 breaths. And again, trying to find ease in this pose. You know, for a lot of people, downward facing dog can be really challenging. So I would invite you to try and stay in this space of just being here, finding that sweet spot in the downward facing dog. And if that means bending through the knees, go ahead and do that. Let's take one more breath here. On the next inhale, you'll sweep your right leg up to the sky, 3-legged dog. Let's point through those feet today. Beautiful core. Coming up on the ball of the left foot. As you exhale, you'll tiger curl the knee to nose and begin to make your way into a lizard lunge. Right foot comes out on the outer edges of the right pinky. Just drop that back knee to the earth to begin with, Court. And I'm just going to bring these blocks up a little bit more for you. You might need to use them when we shift into half Hanuman. So as you can see, Court has come up onto her balls of her fingertips and she's opening up through her chest. So we have a couple of variations here. So lizard lunge is a really strong pose, right? It's really, really strong. It not only gets into the back of the hamstrings, but it really works the hip flexors. So take your variation here. You might like to come up and lift that left leg off the earth. See how that feels. If that feels okay, maybe have a play around with coming on down to your forearms, maybe even placing a block underneath your forearms. It doesn't really matter, just as long as you're feeling a beautiful stretch through the back of the hamstrings and also through that right hip flexor. So take whichever variation works for you. We are going to be here for 5 more breaths. Allow the neck to become heavy and just continue to focus on the breath here. All these poses will require you to use your breath. You know, so if you need to elongate the breath a little bit, go ahead and do so. Nice core. Let's take one more breath here. And just begin to drop that left knee back down to the mat. Awesome. Slowly come on up and frame that right leg now. So we are in a low lunge-like shape. Beautiful. Now here we might like to grab our blocks if we have them handy and make our way into our half Hanuman. So you'll begin to straighten through that right leg. Blocks will journey with you wherever feels good. And just begin to forward fold over that right leg. Now Courtney has her left toe tucked under. You are more than welcome to untuck the toes and just allow the top of the left foot to rest to the earth. It's whatever works for your body. So if you'd like to take a halfway lift, and as you exhale, draw the nose towards the knee, go ahead and do so. And then re-bend through that right leg, coming back to your low lunge. Making your way through half Hanuman, just like Courtney's doing. As you breathe in, wave the body up, come back through to your low lunge. We are going to take 3 more like that. So just moving with the breath. Nice core. Really making sure that you're taking a moment to pause on the edge of each pose. So see how Courtney's taking a moment to pause, and then she'll wave the body forward and come through to her low lunge. And giving the muscle a chance to feel the sensation. And this should be our last one. We will meet back in our low lunge. And from here, we will lift that back leg off the earth. So we're coming up into our high lunge, keeping those blocks nice and handy though. We are going to transition from here into a pyramid pose. So begin to straighten through that right leg, maybe shift that left leg forward, just like Courtney has done. And if you want to go ahead and use your blocks and frame that right foot, go ahead and do so. And we will take 3 rounds of halfway lift. So as you can see, Courtney's forward folding over that right leg. As she breathes in, she will take her halfway lift. Nice flat back, beautiful. Exhale to a forward fold. Inhale to your halfway lift. Let's take one more for good measure. And we will pause in the forward fold, making sure that that left hip continues to dial to the back of the room. It doesn't really matter where the nose goes. If you need to bring a slight bend through that right leg, go ahead and do so. If the blocks are feeling a little bit restrictive, go ahead and move them out of the way and just allow the hands to rest to the earth. We are going to be here for 5 more breaths. So really release down. Make this pose feel as nourishing as you can. Really such a beautiful stretch for our hamstrings. Let's go ahead and take one more breath. And then gently remove those blocks to the side. Re-bend through that right knee. Come back to your low lunge. So you're going to have to shift around a little bit here. Beautiful. And then step back to your downward facing dog. Great. Take 5 breaths in your downward facing dog. So how is that feeling on the right side of the body opposed to the left, Court?
That's amazing. That's what I need. So good.
So sometimes, you know, for me, and I know Courtney's a little bit the same, because we are pitta, we are fire essentially, we tend to lean away or shy away from slower practices. However, this is where the real beauty is, my friends, you know. The slower that we can move through our practice, the more that we can hold poses, the more benefit that we'll have in regards to stretching out different muscles in our body, you know, which is what we essentially need. So let's go ahead and take one more breath here. And on the next inhale, we will rise that left leg up to the sky. Flexing through that left foot. And as you exhale, draw the left knee to the nose, tiger curl, and make your way to your lizard lunge. And so we want that left foot on the outer edges of that left pinky. And drop that right knee to the earth and open through the chest. Now readjust slightly here. If you want to come out on the edge of the left foot, you're welcome to do so. And if it feels okay, begin to lift that right knee up off the earth. And we are going to come on down to our forearms only if it feels good in your body. Always an option to place a block underneath your forearms for extra support. And just really allow that left knee to drop out to the left here. Let's go ahead and take 3 breaths in this pose. Just releasing any tension through the back of the neck. Let's go ahead and take one more breath. And then slowly begin to make your way back up, dropping the right knee to the earth. And we are going to frame that left foot now. So we're coming into our low lunge. Beautiful. Maybe grabbing those blocks if they are handy and journeying with them to make our way into half Hanuman. So begin to straighten through that left leg, just like Courtney has done, flexing through that left foot so the left toes are drawing back towards the crown of the head. And just allow the nose to draw down towards that left leg. If you would like to take a halfway lift here, go ahead and do so. And then begin to bend through that left knee and come back through to your low lunge. As you exhale, begin to straighten through that left leg, half Hanuman. And as you breathe in, low lunge. Beautiful. We are going to take 3 more using our own breath, remembering to slow down the movement, pausing. And so we can really feel the benefits. Nice squat. And perhaps one side of the body is feeling a little bit tighter than the opposite side. It's usually the way that it works. So just becoming a little bit more aware if your harder side might be the left-hand side. And if that's the case, maybe slowing it down even more. So going at your own pace. And this should be our final one. We'll meet in a low lunge. And begin to lift that right knee off the earth. Move the blocks to the side. So we're in our high lunge now. And we're going to transition into pyramid pose. So begin to straighten through that front leg. Bring that back leg in and bring it out to a slight 45-degree angle. Now again, option to use blocks if they are available to you. Place them on the either side of that left foot. And then take your folds, drawing the nose towards the knee. We're going to take 3 rounds of our halfway lift. So as we breathe in, nice flat back. As we exhale, we draw the nose towards the knee. Beautiful. Go ahead and take 2 more in your own time. Last one. And we'll pause in our forward fold for 5 breaths. So softening through the body here. So every pose has a knock-on effect, you know. So here, even though we are in a forward fold and we definitely can feel it through the back of our hamstrings, we still want to be dialing our right hip towards the back of the room. We also really want to be softening through our shoulders and our neck, because this is often where we hold a lot of tension. So just being mindful, are there any slight little adjustments that you could be doing that's just going to make the pose feel a little bit more easeful for you. So let's go ahead and take 1 more breath here. And then gently remove the blocks to the side. We're coming back through to our low lunge. So re-bending through that left knee. You might need to re-jig slightly, extend that right leg back. And then step back to your downward facing dog. Take 5 breaths in your downward facing dog. So the hamstrings should be beginning to feel really nice and open right about now. And how we will end the practice today is after we have taken our 5 breaths, we are going to make our way to the top of the mat and we are going to hold in a forward fold for about 1 minute. So I'll give you different variations that will suit. So let's go ahead and take 1 more breath in our downward facing dog. Look towards the top of the mat and just take little baby steps, bringing the feet towards the hands. And take a halfway lift once you arrive, lengthening out through the back of the hamstrings, noticing how Courtney is dialing her tailbone towards the back of the room. Nice flat back. And as you exhale, forward fold. Now here is where we get nice and comfortable for the next minute. You do have the option to grab opposite elbows and take a ragdoll-like shape. You can wrap your hands around the backs of your legs if that feels most nourishing. You can even clasp your hands at the base of your spine like Courtney is doing, and just allow the crown of the head to drop a little bit closer to the earth, whichever variation works for you. If you need to bring a slight bend through the knees, please do so. Make sure the soles of the feet are firmly grounded into the earth. And we will be here for 1 beautiful minute. In this moment, just noticing if there's anywhere in the body you can soften slightly. If you're feeling like the arms are getting a little bit tired, release them, change shape, and do whatever you need to do. Forward folds are not only incredibly beneficial for our hamstrings, they are actually also incredibly beneficial to our nervous system. So if there's any time in your life where you're feeling incredibly stressed, anxious, overwhelmed, jump into a forward fold, and hold it for a minute, and I guarantee that you will feel a whole lot calmer once you come out of the pose. It taps into that parasympathetic nervous system. And so really it has so many beautiful benefits. So we are going to be here for about 10 more breaths. Again, releasing through the neck. Maybe bringing the slight bend through the knees, noticing how that feels. And once you have taken your 10th breath, there is no rush. You will release your hands down to the earth. And slowly roll all the way up to your Tadasana mountain pose. And once you do arrive at the top of your mat in your Tadasana, I want you to pause here. 5 breaths, palms facing forward. Allow the body to just gently reset. Closing down the eyes, enjoying this beautiful sense of peace and calm that you have just cultivated for yourself in today's practice. Go ahead and take one more breath. And bring the hands to the heart center. We press our thumbs into our sternum. Thank you for joining us today, guys. Namaste.
Namaste.